And I'm sure you're well aware how how WebEx works. You can share your screen or whichever method you like to share and go through the presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Angela Conley.
Thank you, Hank. And just so I'm aware, how much time do I have? So I'm respectful of your time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but we have to limit you to 52 minutes.
I'll see what I can do. I guess I can make that work. All right. Well, thanks for joining and for hanging in there. So my name is Angela Conley. I'm the Commercial Account Manager at Alarm.com. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is our access control offering. And really, this is something that we had in beta for over a year. And then we launched our access control at ISC West in April of 2018. And we've had a lot of positive response to it. And they've brought me here today to kind of go into more detail about what differentiates it and how it all integrates with Alarm.com. So without further ado, really one of the biggest benefits for Alarm.com or using Alarm.com is that we have a unified solution. What that means is that we work with intrusion, video, access control, automation such as thermostats, as well as lights and locks. And these are all integrated together into one user interface, one app, one website. We do work with a variety of security panels, and we do have our own video. I'll get into more detail of what we're using for access control. But from a user standpoint, it's all one actual app and website. So when it comes to our access control, what are your benefits for using access control? Really the biggest one is that this is a big opportunity for bundling. So we call it a triple play, where you have intrusion, access, and video all in one app, one user interface. And we do work with any, our access control works with any intrusion panel that is compatible with Alarm.com. So whether you're using a Concord or Qualisys, Neo, whatever it is, access control will work with that panel. So it gives you that opportunity to upsell as well. We have found that when it comes to access control, small and medium businesses have largely been ignored in the industry for a couple of reasons. One, for the end user to add even one door for access control, which is too expensive. Maybe they wanted it at their front door or back door or an IT closet, wherever it is, but they're looking at several $1,000s to make that happen, and it was just too much. On the dealer side, it was also not really worth your time to go in and install just one door. There really wasn't a lot of money involved in that for you. It was all in the hardware and the installation. So what we've done is we've made this affordable for the end user, but also worth your time with that incremental growth. And we've done that by recurring monthly revenue, where we have a fee for you as the dealer that you pass on to the end user, and it makes it much more affordable for the customer as well. Another big benefit for using access control with Alarm.com is that it is a very simple setup. When you are installing an Alarm.com system, you can use the mobile tech for setting up their access control, their intrusion, their video. It's one app or one website to set up everything for the customer, as well as it makes it very simple for the customer to use it. Not sure if you have very many customers that have multiple apps. Maybe they have a camera system with, maybe they went to Costco and got the Lorex or Swan system. And then they have access control with one dealer, they have intrusion with another, they have a thermostat with their heating and cooling provider. So that's a lot of bills and a lot of providers. What we've done is try to make it as simple as possible for you as well as the end user to have just one user, one interface for it all. And then really making it a sticky customer. When you have that triple play of the access, intrusion, and video, it makes it very difficult for them to move anywhere else. Perhaps another security provider comes along and says, hey, we have this video solution that's a lower price. It's very unlikely that that customer is going to move on to that when everything is natively working together so well. So really try to make it a customer for a lifetime for you with that integration of all of those devices. From a customer standpoint, some of the biggest benefits is that the app is very intuitive. So you know Alarm.com, you know how simple our app is to use. It's no different with using the access control option. So right from their phone, they can see their video, their access control, their intrusion. They can buzz doors open remotely. They can unlock doors right from their phone. And they can also add and remove users right from their phone. So let's say you have an employee that has access control to get into the back door. Maybe that employee leaves on not so great of terms. You don't have to go on site to a physical computer to actually remove them. You just simply select the trash can icon on your phone next to that person's name, and they are gone. Their credentials no longer function. Or perhaps that person lost their key fob, and you can make them inactive without actually removing them. So that's another option. And then another benefit for the end user is that seamless integration. What this means is that they can scan their badge at the back door, which would then disarm the security system, record a clip of who it is, and it also adjusts the thermostat accordingly, all with just one little motion from their key fob. Excuse me, from their access control fob. So we try to make this as automated and as simple as possible for that customer so that they can actually focus on running their business rather than trying to figure out their security system. So I may have kind of drilled that point into the ground of how simple it is to use, but we have found that those customers that do have that triple play of access, intrusion, and video have very low attrition. They are not going anywhere. That's a video. I'm not going to show the video right now. It gets a little choppy, but I can certainly send this over to Hank, and you can take a look at some customer testimonials. So how does our access control work? It is cloud-based. Again, that means that you do not need to have a physical dedicated computer on site. It means that you do not need to do any software updates on site. It is all remotely managed. Alarm.com, we provide the door controller. We use a Mercury board. So for those of you who do a lot of access control, Mercury has about 80% of the market share. We took a Mercury board and built our firmware onto it, and that is the door controller, the brains of the system. All of the other peripherals, such as the readers, request to exit, locking hardware, that is yours to source through your distributor. One thing to note is that the card readers do need to be weakened protocol. I'll say that again, they do need to be weakened protocol. HID is one of the largest card readers that uses weakened protocol. And so this could also be a great retrofit opportunity. Let's say that you do have a customer. Maybe they have this aging access control system, maybe it's 5 doors, whatever amount it is. And rather than tearing everything out and replacing it, you could perhaps just replace the door controller, and the readers, the locks, everything else can stay in place. Makes it much easier for you and much more affordable to that customer, and you're getting recurring monthly revenue from it. Let's say that there is a system, there's a network outage. This is a question that comes up often when people are wrapping their minds around cloud-based access control. The question that comes up is, will this function if there's no network? The answer is yes. So everything will continue to function locally, even if there is no network. The only thing is if you try to remotely unlock or buzz a door or remotely add or remove somebody, that is when that will not function. But from a local standpoint, readers will continue to function, everything will work, even if there is not a network available. So I'm actually, rather than kind of death by PowerPoint, I'd rather show you the user interface, a live demo of it, to give you an idea of what it actually looks like. So I'm going to log in here. I'm going to go to Olivia's Cafe. So we kind of have a little storyboard here. We have our Latin American team that uses my demo and likes to change it into Spanish. So when I log in here, this is what the users will see when they pop in. And we do have a lot of the basics while I wait for this to load of access control, such as creating schedules. For example, with Olivia's Cafe here, we can schedule the doors to unlock at 8 a.m. and lock at 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. We also have first person in, first man in, snow day, whatever you want to call it, where in order to initiate that schedule, somebody would need to scan their badge. That way, if there's bad traffic or snow day and the door doesn't just automatically unlock at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have to initiate that schedule to start it up. Hang tight while I change this out of Spanish. Sorry about that. It was, I swear, just in English about 10 minutes ago, so they must be actively using this as well. There we go. So a few things I'd like to show you here is the user access section. So on the left side, I'm going to select user access, and I'm going to create a plan. A plan is what we actually want the system to do. So let's say we have an afternoon shift, afternoon crew. We can change the colors and make it pretty. So we'll just say the evening group, evening shift. So this is what the customer would actually do. We have the evening shift. We're going to select who, so which users are in that evening shift. We're going to select which access points they have. Oh, it doesn't have any. There we go. So this is where it works well. We have perhaps a Z-Wave lock at the back door. We have access control at the front door. We have the security panel, as well as the security panel. Perhaps there's multiple partitions, the office as well as the manager's office, and a side door. So this works with any Z-Wave security panel, or excuse me, Z-Wave lock, security panel, and access control doors. And then we determine the schedule. So this is the afternoon crew. We'll say that they show up around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe they work pretty late. I don't know. We'll say they work until, till midnight. We copy which days of the week. Maybe on a Saturday they arrive a little bit earlier. But as you can see, very simple to create those schedules. I select save, and now I have a new plan created. So it's all right here. There's no limit to the number of plans that you can have. There's also no limit to the number of, I shouldn't say there's no limit, but the number of users you can have is in the thousands. So technically there's a limit, we just haven't reached it. Now, if I wanted to add a new user, perhaps at Olivia's Cafe, she has a new manager. Going to add a new user here. This is going to look similar to what you're already used to with alarm.com. We have Mary Smith. We could add Mary's information here. So maybe Mary is a manager. We could put her email address so she can receive notifications. And then Mary, we are going to determine which plans Mary has access to. So Mary's a manager. We're going to give her access to all of the locations. But perhaps Mary is part of the cleaning company. So we could add her just to the cleaning company, for example. She can have access to multiple plans. And then we select save. So that's how simple it is to add users as well as access plans. Let's say that somebody doesn't work out. Really, it's just a matter of selecting delete, and now they are removed from all of these plans with just a click. Moving on, let's take a look at a few notifications that are available with access control. My computer knows it's Friday. It's moving a little slowly today. There we go. A few common notifications. These aren't necessarily related just to access control, but we can always be notified if the business is open late or closed early, which is popular for business owners, for managers. What's really nice about these notifications is that they are in real time, which means that if Olivia's Cafe is supposed to open at 8 o'clock in the morning and it's not opened until 8:02, that manager is getting a text or an email or a push notification, and they can take action at that moment, rather than finding out in a report a month later that it was open late. So notifications such as it opening unexpectedly at 3 o'clock in the morning, late, early, whatever it is, you check the boxes of what they want to be notified of. Other notifications that are popular is, here we go, the door is forced open with access control. Perhaps you have an employee that you really want to keep an eye on. You can say anytime, let's say Mary's brother Joe Smith. Anytime Joe, he's a little sketchy, shows up at either door, we can select Joe's name here. That's his nickname, Billy Bob. And we could even say when. So the point of this is you can get very granular in your notifications of exactly who is doing what and when. Maybe that's a bit too much. You just kind of want to generally know when people are coming and going and get an overview. We do have the activity tab here on the left, and we can do a quick filter, perhaps by event. So I'm going to filter by access control, and maybe I want to just take a look between a date range and see anytime the door was locked, unlocked, buzzed open with access control. If I had Joe in here, I could even just search by a particular employee, and all of Joe's activity in the past week would show up in this list. And we could even export that to an Excel document. So a lot of data here, a lot of power in what you can see and do, not only with access control, but the business as a whole. Quite a bit of remote awareness. So I had mentioned video as being integrated. Let's see here. I think I have a video of what that would look like. Maybe not on here. Bear with me. So video is very much linked to our access control, which means, again, that you can have a clip of exactly who's doing what and when. A big benefit of our cameras, first of all, we do have a commercial lineup, if you aren't familiar with that. We have 4 commercial grade cameras. What makes them commercial grade is that they are PoE cameras. These are all hardwired, IP67 rated. And full lineup here, this bullet camera, the 736, is one of our newer cameras along with the turret camera. This 736 is designed as a visual deterrent. It's large. And it has an infrared range of 260 feet. 260 feet. So great for parking lots and areas where you want to see a good distance when it's dark. With our cameras, right from the app, we really try to make it so you don't need an IT degree to understand how to actually use the cameras. In a past life, I was a technical trainer for a VMS called Milestone. It was a 3-day certification course on just how to use that software. You've all seen those cameras that come with a 150 user page manual. We really try to make it so it is as simple as possible so that the end user can just simply pull it up and understand how to use it. So this might be a little tough to see in the webinar, but right from the app, you can select history. And this says panel disarmed, front door opened. And right here, we have a little arrow. So if somebody wants to filter, for example, by every time the back door was opened by anybody, you could select that filter and just choose the back door. When you click on that particular event, it brings you directly to that point in time with a video. So we actually don't even have a user manual for our cameras or for our video because it's so intuitive that if you can understand how to click a button, you can understand how to view the cameras. Likewise, we do have our commercial SVR that is coming up soon. We are currently in beta with it now. And you can view multiple cameras with the SVR or stream video recorder. Currently, you can view up to 8 cameras. The commercial SVR that's coming out will allow you to view, or access up to 16 cameras and up to 12 terabytes of storage. This is what it looks like. So that's coming Q1 of 2019, first quarter. So I did want to show you also the user interface of video from the website. So we just saw it from the app. We do have the SVR timeline or stream video recorder timeline. Right here, similar to the app, we can select which markers. So we have access control. We can see anytime a door is accessed, is remotely buzzed open, whatever is going on, we can check those, and markers will show up in the timeline that we can then access that particular event. So stockroom was opened, perhaps some items went missing. We click on that, and it brings us directly to that point in time to see what happened. We have found with cameras, with video especially, that when a customer has at least one camera integrated with Alarm.com, their attrition dramatically is reduced. And that is because the customer logs in, I want to say it's 3 times more often when they have a camera than when they do not. And the more that the customer logs in to use their security system, to view video, to manage access control, the more engaged they are and the more value they actually see in the system. So adding at least one camera that is with access control can really reduce attrition of your customers. All right. So those are some of the key areas that I did want to go over, just kind of review. That key differentiator is that triple play of intrusion, access control, and video, and that it does work with, I want to say we have about 15 security panels and counting. So any panel that is compatible with Alarm.com will work with access control. The customer user interface is very simple for them to use. We all have customers that call us often that need assistance, and is really designed to reduce those calls to you and to really empower the customer to use their system so they don't have to rely on you to add and remove those user codes. One thing I haven't gone over is the installation side for access control, and that would be more, of course, for the dealers. So for the installation, does somebody have a question? I just heard it unmute.
No, that's just me. I was going to say if you do have time, so if you want to, Angela, go over a little section of this, that they would definitely be interested, since it looks like we have about 18 different people on, up to 20,
okay.
And they're all from different dealers. Yep, so you're good.
Gotcha. And if you also, if you do have any questions, please post those in the Q&A. I don't know if I have access to that, but I'm sure Hank, you'd be able to fill me in with any questions they might
Sure.
have.
And we're going to open up the conversation for any questions here in a few minutes when you wrap up.
Okay.
We'll leave a space for that.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to pull up what the installation side looks like. And time and time again, when I've asked our security providers, our partners, what their thoughts were with the installation, the word that comes up repeatedly is slick. So that is an area that has been very popular, is just how simple it is to actually install. I know sometimes with access control, it's required that you attend, a 3-day or full week certification course. Maybe you have to physically fly somewhere to do it. With Alarm.com, we have an online course for you to take, and we have 2 versions of that. One is the fast track, which is designed for those of you who know your way around access control. And the other side, it's an in-depth course that is designed more if you're newer to access control, or perhaps you have some new technicians that you want to have trained on it. And that course is approximately 3 hours in length. But we do require that our partners complete one of those 2 courses, whether it's the fast track or the in-depth course, because we really want this to be a positive experience for you as well as the customer, so you know what you're doing once you're on site. For the installation side, you can set access control up either via Mobile Tech app, which is the picture of it on the left, or through the partner portal on the right. And it's a plug and play. So it's all on the network. It's internet-based. Once you have it plugged in, it's going to pull up the controllers. So it's going to auto-discover it. And there's a wizard that walks you through each step of it. So if you can follow the wizard, we do have a lot of nice visuals with information on wiring. We try to make this as simple as possible. So as you can see here, we have the visuals here, ask you to select which relay to use. Here is the information on the actual online courses for it. So if you are interested in that, in taking the online courses, that is available on our partner portal. I think there's a picture here somewhere. Maybe not. But it's available on our partner portal. You go in there and select access control, and that's where you can take the online course that gives you the information of how to set up the installation and kind of the 101 of it. And then, of course, we also have our tech support team. We have a dedicated tech support number just for access control questions. Since I have you on the phone, a few other areas that I did want to show you. This is kind of more general with alarm.com. But something that you might be wondering is, let's say you have multiple locations and you want to install perhaps 3 doors at each location. How does that work? So first of all, this is what's called our enterprise dashboard. As you can see here, any customers of yours that have multiple locations, you can set them up so they can view all of them from one page. This is just available on our commercial and commercial plus service plan. And there's no limit to the number of locations that you can have on one page. The customer can actually arm and disarm right from this page. So really great when they have multiple businesses. Furthermore, you can divide these into groups. So let's say that you have a customer with 30 locations and they have managers that are in charge of 5 locations each. You can divide those into smaller groups so that when the managers log in, they only see the locations that they are in charge of and not all of those businesses at the same time. So there's also no limit to the number of groups that you can divide them into. As far as access control goes, we are currently in beta for integrating access control into enterprise, so enterprise multi-location. So if you are interested in beta testing that, we're actively taking dealers for that right now. A nice benefit is it really doesn't look a whole lot different when you have multiple locations or just one. The difference would be that when you do go to create an access plan, you're going to have an option of more doors to add. They might be doors from 3 other businesses, and you just simply check the boxes for those additional doors. So you can certainly contact me or contact Hank, who will contact me if you are interested in the beta for that. Another area I wanted to show you, and this is just available on the commercial service plan, is our reports. Reports are one of the biggest selling points for small and medium businesses because these are a differentiator. Rather than just being a security system, this is providing them remote awareness and insight into what's actually happening in their business. So with these reports, we have an open and close report. Pretty straightforward. You can get this daily, weekly, monthly, or all 3. And here you can see from each location, if they had multiple locations, the open and close events. If they just have one, of course, you would just see one on this page. Another report that's very popular is the location summary report. And what this is it provides you insight of how many times each location was opened and closed on time, if it was opened unexpectedly at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then it's also going to break it down with each sensor. So once my page loads here, there we go. We can see how many times it's opened and closed, unexpected activities and alarms. Because Alarm.com is really focused on data, we provide that insight to those business owners. So let me find a better example here. Chicago, there we go. A standard security system, as soon as it is disarmed, it's done for the day. It checks out, it's done. With Alarm.com, we monitor every sensor 24/7 and provide that information to that business owner, to that manager. So now they have information, a nice visual graph of all of the activity at their back door and on their office door. This is in Spanish for some reason, but on the front door. So you can imagine with that front door, they're able to take a look at customer foot traffic. They can get a better idea of sales. They could figure out employee staffing needs, all based off of just this one little sensor at the front door that's providing that insight. I worked with a security partner in the Northeast who had a customer with several realty offices, real estate. And this customer had one office where there wasn't a whole lot going on. There just weren't a lot of sales, kind of in a rural area. And so they thought that there was just really little customer foot traffic, and they were actually debating on physically closing that office. They started to use this report, and they found out that there was actually quite a bit of customer foot traffic going on in that location. And so it wasn't an actual issue of customers coming in, but it was a sales team issue. So that kind of awareness is something that you really just can't get with a standard security system, but rather one that gives you information on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. We have quite a few reports. I'm not going to show all of them. Arming and disarming shows you who armed and disarmed and when. You can actually see the employee names. The last one I'm going to show you is the sensor activity report. And this report is similar to the graph that we saw, but rather than providing a graph, we'll zoom in, it shows you the number of times a sensor has been activated. So now you can see that the front door has opened 1,300 times at the Kansas City location versus 1,000 times at the St. Louis location. Might also give you some good insight of anomalies. I worked with another security provider who had a convenience store customer that after they got Alarm.com started to look at this report, and they noticed that their back door was opening quite a bit. So the security provider gave the customer a camera to use just for a week, kind of as a trial to see if they liked it. And in that 1 week, that convenience store customer saw that somebody from the donut shop next door was going in the back door and helping themselves to beer out of their cooler and then leaving. So you can't make that up. That was in Boston. But again, it provides that awareness that perhaps a business owner isn't even thinking that they can get that. So it's really important to show them that this is all available to them. So those are kind of, I guess, the key areas. I hopped around a little bit, but for access control, kind of showed you some of those differentiators. One thing I did not mention is how many doors you can have per account. You can have up to 68 doors per account for access control. And we know that, I say this is kind of the hair club for men joke, but not only are we the president, we are also a user. We use our own access control at our headquarters in Virginia, and we have 68 doors there. So it certainly is possible that you could go higher. We just know for a fact that 68 works. But we found that many of our customers, many of our providers it's really kind of in the 1 to 10 door range has been the most popular. All right, so that's pretty much the overview. I want to allow some time for questions. Hank, has anybody typed anything in, or did you have any?
I do not. Someone did say, I like seeing the DSC keypad, and I'm not sure if you understand exactly what they're asking. Oh, like seeing the DSC. Oh, okay. Somebody's a fan out there. Oh, got it.
Okay.
I thought they were saying they would like to see the DS keypad, but you obviously, yeah, you did show that earlier, so they must love that. Big fans out there, yeah.
Shout out.
This would be a good time for anyone out there, and if you can't see it.
Right here, then you have the camera in the corner that also has a dual. So am I going to capture somebody coming in for sure?
That's Danny. Go ahead and mute him, Jonathan. So for the rest of you, sounds like someone's doing a good pitch over there. For the rest of you,
so I see them coming in and out of the blind spot, but it makes a little bit of a vacancy here. And I did the math before I stepped up. It's $1,063, so $1,063.
All right, just mute everyone except myself, Jonathan.
Yeah, if everyone could type their questions, that would be a lot easier.
Yeah, so type your question if you have one, and I'll read it, and I can read it off. And Angela, can you also see the questions? I'm not sure if you can or not.
I think I can see them, but I would be sharing my screen, and everybody else would be seeing them as well. So
That's
if you're
fine.
okay with
Let's
that,
go. Yeah, let's. No, I'll be happy to read them. Okay. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anything, so Jonathan, if you are, let me know.
No, I'm not seeing anything yet. Okay, so they're starting to come in.
I'm trying to. I've had something weird happen on my screen, but let me see if I can get back to where we were. All right, here we go. I think I got it. And I'm just trying to see where questions are.
I see one. Do you need one controller per door?
There you go.
Yeah, great question. So no, the door controller that we sell is up to 17 doors per door controller. So the door controller itself works with one door, and then you can daisy chain additional doors onto it with either 1 or 2 door expansion boards. So up to 17.
Excellent. Anybody else have questions? I don't see any others.
I see there's one. Exactly which intrusion control panels will Alarm.com work with, and what are the recurring costs? That was a two-parter.
Why am I not seeing these?
Gotcha. So we work with quite a few. I'm pulling up our website right now. The most common manufacturers, actually, let's pull it up here, give you a visual.
There we go.
There we go. So if you can see my screen, might be a little small, I'll zoom in here. But we work with DSC Neo, Power Series, and Impasa. Interlogix or GE or UTC, whatever you want to call them. We work with quite a few of theirs. On the business side, the most likely ones would be the Concord and the NX. And then we also work with 2GIG and Qualisys. So a few different Qualisys versions as well as 2GIG versions. And if you want to find out more about that, if you just go to alarm.com and then select partners and ecosystem, you'll be able to see all of the panels we are compatible with. There's also the access control. So if you want a visual, I talked a little bit about, here's the door controller. You can see it says 1-17, which means 1 to 17 doors can be added to that door controller, and it comes in the single reader and 2-door readers. We also do sell kits. That kit, one of the more popular ones, includes the enclosure, the door controller here on the left side, as well as the power supply. So there's a few options.
I'm also looking at some of the questions. With commercial service levels, are there as many as the non-commercial?
I'm not sure I quite understand. Oh, maybe you're asking so we have residential service plans and commercial service plans. I actually have a visual breakdown that I'm going to show you. I think that'll really help out. There are 2 commercial service plans, and that's a great question. So in order to use access control, they would need to be added onto a commercial service plan. And here's a breakdown of the differences between those. But we also do have the option for standalone access control. So perhaps your customer only wants access, or maybe they do want access intrusion, but they're locked into a contract for intrusion for another 2 years with somebody else. You can still get your foot in the door with access control. And that standalone is available. You could also just do access control plus video. You do not have to have intrusion with it. But to kind of give you an idea from this screen here, you can see I just chose one of the residential accounts. That one's titled Interactive. But to show you the differences between them. Between the 2 commercial service plans, the main differences is that the Commercial Plus plan includes auto arming, which is where your customer can set up their system to automatically arm at a set time, for example, 8 p.m., or you could set it up to arm after a period of inactivity. For example, the business closes at 7 p.m., you could set it up to automatically arm after an hour and a half of no activity on any sensor. So auto arming is just available on the Commercial Plus plan. And then another difference is the supervision time, meaning how often we ping that panel, how often we talk to it. On the residential side, we ping the panel every 24 hours, commercial every 6, Commercial Plus every hour. So on the commercial side, you're going to know a lot sooner if that panel is not communicating and can be proactive. But as you can see, between the commercial and residential, all of these, the commercial reports, enterprise multi-location dashboard, notifications such as the business opening late, closing early, and then being able to add access control, those are all just available on the commercial plans. That was a long-winded answer to a short question, but this does come up often, which is why I created this graph or this grid.
Did you answer this earlier? I was trying to help out, so I had some questions I was reading. The panels that the Alarm.com for this service will work with, the list of them?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. So that is available on our website. Any panel that works with Alarm.com will work with access control.
I think all of those work.
Here's a visual, correct?
Yep, that's good. And guys, if you fail to remember something, this is going to be recorded. Jonathan will put it up on our YouTube channel. Jonathan, again, for everyone, can you just remind everyone the name of the YouTube channel that they can go to? Or our website is dynamarkmonitoring.com. But I believe, do you normally put these up on our YouTube channel as well, Jonathan?
Yeah, the fastest way to get there would to be either to go to YouTube and search Dynamark Security or go to our website and click on the YouTube icon.
There you go. There you go. Either way, guys, that'll get you there. Any other last questions? I think we've answered everything, unless, Jonathan, you can see one I didn't see, but I think those are all the questions that were asked on our Q&A. Yep, that seems to be it. Anyone want to type in anything last before Angela has taken enough of her time? I guess no one else, Angela. I think you've done a great job. This certainly has expanded most of us as to knowledge of what you could do commercially. This is pretty impressive.
Great. Well, thanks for joining me, and everybody have a great Thanksgiving next week.
Thanks so much. You guys have a great week, and look for us next month on our next webinar. We'll have our other special guests. All of you who have continued to be a part of these, we genuinely appreciate it. Certainly gives us a nice audience to talk to, and we'll see you next month.